it's Truth Tuesday and specifically the last Tuesday of June. So, what I'd like to do today is to really take a look and see, what is it that you need to do or stop doing? Because, it could be something you need to do, or it could be something that you need to stop doing so that you can get to where you really want to be. Now, the good news is it's May and we still have plenty of time to get to work on our goals. But now that we're in May, if you set some goals, the end of last year or the beginning of this year, you should recognize your wins and also what you need to improve on. Now, if you're not doing anything differently, like let's say hypothetically, you set your goals at the end of last year, you said that you wanted to increase your company revenue by 300,000. Now that we're in May, there should be some things that you can say, okay, yes, I've been doing this differently. I've added this activity, and this is what my net result is. If, on the other hand, you find yourself not doing those things that you identified were important, resisting those things that you identified were going to be the needle movers in your business, then it is important that you take a closer look because we're in May and you don't want to keep doing the things that you were doing last year that were not, netting you the result, right? That's super important. Now, I know that, we all hear that saying, like, well, if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same results. Well, of course, that is true. However, what I find after conducting just under 5,000 coaching sessions since 2014 is that many of us do go through a period of time of resisting new things or things that we should be doing that we're not doing. So it's really up to you as an individual, whether or not you have a coach, a team. It's really up to you to call yourself out, to be able to objectively look and see where are you, where do you want to be, or maybe a better question is where did you think your company would be at this time in 2024? Did you think that your company would be up approximately, 25, 30K every month? Or is it structured in your business where you may have a busy time of the year? I know that, some businesses have the periods of time where they could make, 50 to 60% of their revenue, maybe even more. But if you set that goal to increase your annual revenue by 300K, and it could be 3 million or above, but a number, right? Then you definitely need to take a look and schedule 15 minutes with yourself because I know it's really busy. You're probably one of those CEOs or founders that is doing for others and probably juggling home life and uh, just trying to make everything work for everyone. But this is important because, like I said, we're already in May. So schedule 15 minutes with yourself, sit down, have some, water with lemon or have some tea or your favorite coffee drink. Maybe it's boba, maybe it's not. I do go to, just as a little side story, I do go to a boba place with my daughter maybe once a month or once every other month. And she wasn't able to go with me last time, and I was right around the area, so I thought I would go. I have decided that I like my drink without boba. I don't really care for the texture. Let me know if you like boba. I mean, I think it's cool, okay? But the first time I had it was actually 9 years ago, when I was chaperoning for my son's eighth grade trip, and there was another mom there that pointed out to us like, oh, and I think there was like a truck on the University of Chicago campus, and she was like, "Oh, we got to try this boba. It's like the newest thing." That was 9 years ago. And I tried it, and I wasn't overly crazy about it. But now here tried it again. I've just decided that I just like my drink without boba. It's interesting, but it's not my thing. I really decided. So, anyways, it's important that you schedule 15 minutes with yourself. Like I said, get your favorite beverage, sit there and just say, you know, where are we with the revenue and where did we plan on being at the almost end of May? A second question you can ask yourself is, are you doing the things and the goals that you had set for yourself? Like, if perhaps there was a new process that you put into place, perhaps you have some business development or some salespeople that you hired and trained. So, whatever the things were that you decided you were going to do this year to get to where you needed to be or wanted to be, then ask yourself, are you doing those things? And if you have team members involved, are they doing those things? Now, chances are, if you have a sales team or business development, chances are, someone on your team, someone on your staff, or maybe even you, depending on what your role is, perhaps you are doing a daily huddle, whether it's virtual or in person or hybrid. So you probably know what's going on. However, it's super important that you do ask yourself that question. Where did you plan on being in May of this year? And are you there? Some of you, I'm quite sure, have exceeded those goals. I have some clients that are tracking 30-40% ahead of where we set the targets. However, maybe you're falling short. And if you're falling short, there's still time to make that change and hit those goals. But I don't want you to wait too much longer, because every day that goes by is another day, obviously, that you could be tracking toward that next level of success. So send me a DM, put it in the comments, just give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Either you're on target, you're tracking, or you're not tracking. It's really either, there's no in between. You're either on track or you're off track. And if you happen to be off track, then let's see what we can do to get you track, on track to that next level of success. And remember that You can't be doing the same things that you were doing or not doing last year. That is in the past. And if you set those goals for yourself, then it's super important that you do the things, the tasks that were identified so that you can get to where you want to be. I believe in you and I know you can do this. It's just that what I have seen in my own behaviors, okay, which, shocked me because I was like, why would I not do this? Like in my case, back in 2014, when I was, trying to get traction in my coaching business, I knew I had to cold call. But there was a period of time when I was resisting it and doing everything else I could besides cold call. And that slowed me down. So it really wasn't until my coach called me out and she really said, I don't understand why you're not cold calling. I was running my other business. I was executive director for a caregiving company. However, I had time scheduled. I had to start. I had 2 hours, 2 days a week for cold calling. But because I was resisting what I needed to do, I would do everything else. And I had admin support for my caregiving agency. But obviously, if there was something important going on, that of course took precedence. Of course it did, because it was people's lives, people's jobs. But I was able to schedule and block off, to start, like I said, 2 hours, 2 days a week, which really helped me because that was time for me to, really focus on getting traction for my coaching business. But pay attention to the clues. Pay attention to activities that you may be avoiding or resisting because those activities are probably exactly what you said you needed to do, but you're resisting it. So pay attention to that because, like I said, those are clues, and those clues can help us to really get to the bottom of it and, you know, make sure that we're doing what we need to do to get to where we need to be. We can't be doing the same things we were doing last year at this time and expect to get different results. Remember, I was just using that plus 300K as an example. Maybe yours is 3 million. Maybe yours is 30 million. But every stage of business, of course, has different challenges. But the point is that you need to be doing different things. So do not kid yourself, you know? Do not act like, oh, well, I'll get around to it or I'll start next week. I've heard all these excuses with the, almost 5,000 coaching sessions that I've done. Or some people say I'll get to the next, well, I'll just start next month because, I missed this month. No, it's really not advisable. So ask yourself, are you tracking? Are you doing the things that you should be doing that you've identified that are important? Or do some things need to change? And like I said, if they need to change, send me a DM. I'll make sure that you get a link for a sales audit and we can get to the bottom of it at the end of the sales audit. Even if we decide that there's nothing or not a good fit for our core program, you'll still have an action step that can help you get to that revenue point. I believe in you. Let me know what you're realizing. Focus on really getting clear on those lessons, on those truths, because, my truth was avoiding cold calling. And was a master at cold calling because I needed to learn that when I was at AT&T. But circa 2014, I was avoiding it. That was one of my biggest truths, one of my biggest lessons. And then that unlocked the door to figuring out, some limiting beliefs that I had, which were not really believing in myself, not believing that I had enough credentials to do executive coaching. I had the experience, I had the certification, but it was that lack of belief in myself. So schedule the 15 minutes. Let me know how you do, and I will talk to you soon.